We're going to read today chapter 2 from my ongoing saga, Ben's World. Now, if you read chapter 1, or if you watched my video of it, you'll know that Ben has just had a little tiff with his mother-in-law, who was visiting, he and his wife Verna. And Ben decided, after giving it considerable thought, that he would go out to Hollywood and become a sex symbol, because they'd had a good one since Rudolph Valentino died in 1926. That was his thinking anyway. So that chapter 1 ends as he walks out the door, and Verna says, "Don't forget your toothbrush." Okay, here we go, chapter 2. Ben hadn't walked very far. When he started to get a little tuckered out, he wasn't used to walking very much. He decided maybe he should go back to his easy chair and think things over. So it'd be quite a ways to walk all the way to town anyway, so he could catch the bus to Hollywood. Maybe he should have asked Verna for a ride, but she didn't seem too keen on him becoming a sex symbol anyway. Sometimes she was a little hard to please. So he turned around and walked back home. And as he walked toward the front door, he felt something squishy under his right shoe. Damn, Mom had left that squished peanut butter and jelly sandwich right there where she stepped on it. It was even more squished now. Black and tried wiping the mess off his shoe in the grass. But after a bit of scraping, he lifted his foot and he looked at the sole, and it was still covered with peanut butter and jelly. If he tracked that into the house, Verna would not be happy. So he removed his right shoe and he walked up to the door. Then he discovered the door was locked because he didn't have his keys. Crazy woman, he thought, standing on one foot. Why'd she lock the door this time of day? Then he realized he'd done it himself as he walked out. So he rang the doorbell. Footsteps approached from the inside. The door opened. It was Verna. "I thought you went to Hollywood," she said. Ben pushed his way past her, walking into the kitchen, held his shoe under the running water and scrubbed it with a vegetable brush which had been laying there. "Why are you holding your shoe under running water?" asked Verna. Ben muttered, "I think I stepped in some doggy poop." "You're cleaning dog poop off my shoe? Your shoe with my good vegetable brush?" She didn't sound very happy, and he knew he'd said the wrong thing. Well, maybe it was that mess of peanut butter and jelly your mother left out there. Mother overheard this. "You tell your worthless husband I didn't leave no mess on your sidewalk. It was there when I came here." Well, Ben wiped off his shoe with a paper towel, slipped it back on his foot, felt a little wet. Then he headed for his easy chair and he sat down. Verna repeated, "I thought you went to Hollywood." "Well, now, till that no good husband of yours, I knew he'd never make it as a sex symbol," said Mother. Verna says, "Mama says you tell your mother I'm leaving as soon as I get my bags packed. He says he's leaving as soon, but I heard him. But I don't believe a word that man says. He's like a perpetual lying machine," said Ben, picking up the remote control and turning on the TV. "Ben, you got a lot of gall. My mother and me were just having a nice chat, and you come back and turn on that damn ball game. You got no consideration." "Kill him, Verna," said Mother. Oh, God, I am not turning on a ball game. For your information, I'm looking for the educational channel. Educational channel? You never watched that channel in your whole life. Why would you start now? Because what? Because I've come to a turning point in my life, and I want to make sure I get it right. I know what he wants, Verna, said Mother. He wants one of those dirty channels. Get some tips on how to become a sex symbol. Tell your mother, if she's so damn smart, she can suggest a channel that could further my new career. Mother put her hands on her hips, looked even meaner than usual, which was pretty mean. You tell your husband I don't have any idea what channel would further his career in filth. Oh, yeah. Ben was offended by this comment. Can't blame him. It ain't that kind of a career I'm aiming for. I just want to be like Rudolph Valentino and ride a horse full speed across the desert, grabbing beautiful women and taking them to my tent for ravishing. Tell your husband, said Mother. It's the ravishing part where all the filth is. You tell your mother, said Ben. I thought she'd be an expert on filth, the way she never cleans her house. Oh, that was wrong, I didn't say. Mother stood up. She walked over to Ben and she swung her purse at him hard as she could, hitting him in the shoulder. Happened so fast Ben didn't even have time to duck. Whoa! Oh! Being attacked in my own house by my own so-called mother-in-law. Now Verna stood up, hands on hips. You could always tell when she was really angry when she did that. Now both of you sit down and shut up, she shouted. They both sat down. Verna's mouth looked grim. She shook her head from side to side. I am disgusted, she said. Well, I ain't exactly thrilled either, said Ben. Getting attacked in my own living room don't put me in the best of moods. Verna waved her finger, she shook her finger at Ben. Moods! I'll tell you about moods. Now, you apologize to my mother, right now. Well, Ben looked amazed. I should apologize? I ain't the one going around swinging purses at people. You insulted her housekeeping. No decent woman would take that sitting down. Well, every time she visits here, she causes some kind of problems in our happy marriage. Our happy marriage? Said Verna. Yeah. What would make me most happy right now? If you'd just sit there and shut up and let me and my mother have a peaceable visit. And she walked over to the TV and she turned it off. Ben says, Then he started wondering what it must have been like back in the days of cavemen. Ben was really good at wondering. Did the man in the cave have to carry out the garbage? Maybe they just threw it on the floor. And when there wasn't any room to walk anymore, they just moved to a different cave. Man was the boss. He was a hunter. Wife was a gatherer. He pictured himself coming home from a successful hunt. He was dragging a huge dinosaur by its tail. Hi, honey, I'm home. Well, that's about time. Don't you go dragging that old thing in here and getting dinosaur blood all over my clean floor. He looked down at the floor. Of course, it was dirt. Well, how are you ever going to clean and cook this thing if I don't bring it inside? His wife had her arms on her hips, elbows akimbo. If you think that I am going to clean and cook that monster, you got another guest coming. Why in the devil don't you catch the little ones? You can eat those raw like you always used to. Well, because you kept telling me I look ugly with a piece of dinosaur tail hanging out of my mouth. Well, it sure was ugly. It was even worse when you started eating from the other end first. And the damn head would be hanging out of your mouth, flopping while you chewed away. He dropped the tail of the dinosaur he'd been dragging all the way home, and he sat down on it. Whew. That was a relief to get the weight off his feet. You gotta face facts, woman. Them little dinosaurs, they're too damn fast for me. They just skitter away, and I'm left with nothing. So, she says, you go searching for an old one that's about ready for a dinosaur graveyard. Well, Ben, he says, well, when I grab an old one by the tail, it usually turns around and sees it's me. And then it must figure, oh, man, I'm done for now. So it just lays down and dies? More or less. Well, they're too damn tough to eat raw. If you think I'm going to clean and cook for him, you got another guest coming. He remembered the good old days. And he would drag that woman around by her hair. She loved it, too. She might have screamed, but she loved it. Now she was content to live on nuts and berries and green stuff. I'm the gatherer, she said. You go right ahead and be the hunter if you want to, but don't expect me to clean those things and cook them. Well, Ben's mind returned to the present. Maybe part of the problem was Verna's hair was too short to drag her by. But he didn't know, even if it had been long enough, he knew he wouldn't try that. He'd never treat Verna that way. Modern gentlemen didn't do things like that. Also, her purse would probably make a bigger bruise than her mama's did. Of course, there was nothing wrong with wondering what things had been like back in the caveman days. Wondering was a sign of a creative mind, and Ben was very good at it. And that's the end of Chapter 2. If you're interested in books that I do have published, just check Jed Oliver on Amazon.com. You'll find a listing of books that I have available in either ebook or paperback versions. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you enjoyed this story, you might enjoy those. So, thank you very much for watching.